after some of the first journeys got in here. He wrote to the nearby town, Healy, and he said, I found a cave of wondrous beauty, and with sledgehammer in hand, I'm breaking through, I'm going deeper. And if y'all saw me reach into my jacket right now and pull out a sledgehammer, would one of y'all tackle me? The way we look at things, and for the growth of the cave, how it expresses itself, even we who give hundreds of page tours in here, barely grasp the fundamentals of some of these things. But I think we all have some shared emotions with how we react to it now. But that's something to consider, right? We're going to have a chance, even though we're kind of sticking this first part of the cave, to go a little bit further, to maybe see something we're missing right now. So, as you look around, I'm going to go ahead, since this is our 30-minute tour, I want to let y'all have the floor here to look around for some of the formations we have above us, around us, and even behind you. I am here as a resource if there's anything you'd like to talk about. Any questions you'll have for this room? We're going to spend maybe a few minutes in here, and then I definitely want to show you all the next room up ahead. Does that sound good, everyone? Mm-hmm. All right. How about it? Any questions you'll have or anything you're curious about?
I got a question.
Sure.
How come it looks like there's a pond over here, but you forgot to put in water?
Yeah, well, there's your imagination kicking in too for that. The water is no longer there, but it indicates a time where there was standing water in here. In fact, for this formation growing on the wall over here, what would y'all call this?
Popcorn.
Popcorn. Now it's a little stale. I heard cauliflower from my last group. They were healthy eaters, maybe. Or what about coral? Like coral polyps. Like a drained ocean here. This is telling us of a time where water was standing, not like as a little pool on the floor, it was probably over our heads. Standing water. Little drips coming down from up above. What would happen when that water hits the surface of the standing water in here? What do y'all think would happen?
It stops.
Ripples, what else? Well, if it's coming and falling from a really high distance up. Sploosh. And that's where you have all the little bits of the rock that this water had melted away, which ancient life helped form this. Think of it, made similar of the materials that make our teeth, our bones. What mineral is that, forget?
Calcite?
Yeah, calcium. I had a junior ranger, she said, well, this is fossil rock. It really is in many ways. The water, whether it's rain or snow melt, will break it down, drip from up above. And then, like a splash, this cave popcorn, yeah, a little water right there. These are maybe paid actors, we'll see if they fall. Help create the formations of this cave in many different ways. Standing water, though, will melt formations too. So these were sort of the last showing of that standing water, maybe from the last ice age, as it dropped out, went somewhere else. Got some draperies here too. Think of like if I held the water in my cup of my hand right now that trickled down my arm off my elbow, leaving trace amounts of that calcium carving it behind. The old draperies here.
Let's see if I can get over here. Excuse me.
Stalactites, yeah. So our friends up above us, tight to the ceiling. Well, we haven't had a chance. Oh, look at the lint on these ones here. Oh boy. Need a little bit of cleaning on them at some point, maybe. We've not dated stalactites up above, but we have dated, well, we have the start of one at least right here at your foot. You see the little bit of calcium being left there on the totally natural concrete floor. So we have growing here below it. It might reach the ceiling, so who would we call that?
Stalagmite?
Yeah, stalagmite. We have dated our stalagmites in the cave. And one that we cross-sectioned, we looked at the minerals. We have to do very different dating we do for like a tree or a bristlecone. But the dating has told us the oldest formation we have found so far is 2.2 million years old.
Wow.
Like an ancient pancake just growing over time. Oh, psych. That was when I worked here 5 years ago. Coming back from other parks, revisiting this park, now giving tours here again, we found a new stalagmite that was dated, same process, and our eyes got a little bit wider. It was dated to 10 million years old. So 5 times the duration it took for that other one. Will we find other older ones? What do y'all think? It is likely. So if y'all come here in the future for other cave tours, I guarantee you they're gonna share something different than I am right now. So that's the fun part about it, right? Yeah, so, but we'll have to see. But when it comes to something like this, the stalagmite, stalactite coming together, holding hands, maybe forming a column, or how about, if y'all need a good night's rest, if you bring a sleeping bag in here, if you're asleep in the cave, make sure you don't forget a really nice pillar, right? Sorry, I tried. But we have so much to learn from these formations still. And that's the fun part. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do any other questions before we move on to the next room. All right, I know you're all anxious. What is in the next room? What is behind door number 3? Well, we'll see. What I'm going to go ahead and do, those of y'all that are past this point right here, stay where you're at. I'm going to slowly make my way by you here. Kind of keep in mind where formations are. Make sure you're careful where you go. As we proceed on ahead here. You're welcome to touch the totally natural, icy cold handrails. We'll see if there's any bats. We're told to not touch the cave. You can do a little pause and the bats have rules on them. They're greasy. So when they roost on the ceiling of the cave, they leave that behind. So they actually touch our cave. It's not good for the formations. But it lets us know where their bats pop up. It even tells us who they are, too. The color of the whale they leave behind. Little spots here and down. I bet maybe those Olympians, maybe people right after them, probably came through here, tidied up, moved formations out of the way. In fact, right there, as you're ducking through, looking back, you'll see definitely where spots were etched away. What do you get from that? So it's a really tough call, do you hurt a resource to maybe gain something more from it? All right, don't come in further here. Make sure our awesome tail lights back there aren't having to crash down below that low spot. Yeah, and you can definitely see where we've been as humans, where we've left our mark, right? Maybe weren't so gentle. And I'm not one to point fingers. We don't know who exactly did this here, cut it off. Maybe the saying was, if you can break it, you can take it. Yeah, not anymore. No, not happening. But maybe it wasn't the end with that. People touched it. Oh, it was a lucky formation. Go ahead and touch it. They left their oils, and maybe it won't have a chance to regrow again. But still, I like to give it a little light. Let some through there. That calcium I mentioned earlier crystallizes here in the formation, calcite, kind of low-grade calcite there. So it's fun to see that. But you'll also notice where other formations were at, maybe broken away, maybe for safety too, not just souvenirs. And the cave is taking another shot at it. In fact, what you held in your hands earlier, you passed around, that would be from one of these up here. Maybe like a soda straw, nice and hollow, letting some of that water trickle down through it there. And let's say the Forest Service, Park Service, we put an end to the breakage of the cave a little over 100 years ago. That's a little over 100 years worth of growth. Pretty fast, right?
Yeah.
So, it really depends on the amount of water. Let me get my little black light print out here. Kind of show that off again. So it really depends, but you can definitely see where there's new growth. Trying new things. Maybe if you excite it, you charge it up with a little bit of ultraviolet light and then phosphorescence here. Exciting it so much, it's like a sugar rush. It's like all the molecules are really excited and then sugar rush down. It's fun to do. But everything that's growing in this cave, and we're trying to give it time. We monitor the temperature changes in here during our tours. We've been through a lot as humans in the last couple of years, haven't we? The pandemic has, in many ways, humbled us, realizing different things, but it shut this cave down for a full year. We have little data loggers that track temperature and CO2, what we breathe out in here, and we were gone during that time too. So we're learning from that. We're getting new research going on how we treat caves. But I think in a lot of ways too, for having every single one of you in here, that gives me hope in my heart, because we're inspired by cool places like this, right? We think of them a little bit differently. So making best use of where the sledgehammer may be met, rock. But as we look around, any other questions before we maybe think about a return trip back to the world of light? Oh, there's so much. It's like, too, I'm like, how much can I get away with here?
How has the whole cave system been explored?
It has. We're at about 2 miles of cave right now, and that's nothing compared to like Carlsbad National Park with their 200 miles, or Mammoth Cave with 525, 28 miles now and counting. Those are huge cave systems, but there's a difference. Right above me is that difference. You will see what looks like a disc. A formation growing out of a crack, much like other formations do in this cave, except this shield, this cave shield or disc-like formation is very mysterious. Not very many caves have this. And if you went through here and you, like a scavenger hunt, counted all the shields in here, well, comparing it to one of those other big caves, let's say Carlsbad, 200 miles, they have 5 cave shields. So many. But you come here, you count ours, and documented so far now, we're at 504 cave shields.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
What does it do? Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the question. We asked that too. Like an Oreo cookie, 2 separate layers. You can see a little bit of a split between their, okay, wafer thin Oreos. We'll go with that. It said the cream filling, get a little bit of water going through it, like a little crack between them. We think that this process happened maybe within certain time frames of when there's more water, ice, shifting of where this cave was previously. But there's a lot we still don't know. So even for the cave shields we champion here, we're like, I don't know. Still learning. So I always encourage folks to revisit this place, to look at things, have a chance. So even if you've been through on a 90-minute tour, seeing all the rooms we normally show, you go through again and go, I didn't see that before. I've been through this cave 100 times, if not more, and I find new stuff. I find a bat in a new place. So there's a lot Lehman Caves can share.
So, where are the bats?
Where are the bats? I bet you, with good money, that right beyond us in this passage, where we don't take our cave tours, kind of overhanging where those popcorn's growing nice and kind of interesting right there, that passage leads to the Civil Defense Room. Very kind of ominous name. This is where if bombs started dropping around us, we would flee to this cave, go in, and hide. Maybe food provisions. But if you feel the air right now, it's cool, right? It feels fresh. There might be other entrances other than the natural entrance. Maybe not a good place to hide from fallout of a bomb, right? So we don't use it for that purpose. But back there is a bat species I'm going to show y'all briefly before we head out here. It's not very comfortable in my jacket. You can hear it crawling around. Is our Townsend big-eared bat. This is pretty much actual size. Now, some of y'all might have explored our little cave demonstration in our visitor center to see a similar model. I got this actually just a little bit before my supervisor made a batch order on Amazon and got some of the very same bats for the exhibit. I didn't even know it. I came back here years later. I was like, oh, look, you've got friends. But the very cool bat that, from their little toes in a quiet corner of our cave, but not too far from the natural entrance, they avoid the very noisy ranger. They roll their ears up like toilet paper rolls, and they use those ears at night to listen faintly for their whispering echoes as they hunt moths that can hear echolocation. So they're stealth bombers in a way. The last thing a moth never hears. So they're fun. But anyways.
What time do they come out of the cave tonight?
For the group that's in here right now, not too many. The pups aren't being reared right now. I'd say maybe if you wait at 9 p.m. for about an hour, you will see 5 or 6. If you come here in early August, late August, when they're rearing the young, and they start coming out, you'll probably get 15 an hour.
Wow.
A little bit more. A couple of pups too. Once they get old enough, they're ready to take their first flight. They might, bump your head as they're going through. They're learning how to fly. But yeah, and for Mexican freetails I mentioned earlier on the other side of the park, you have to drive all the way around. But you'll probably from the road, Highway 50, you'll probably see them streaming out. So they're fun too. Anyways, I have obligations to meet here for getting us safely out of the cave. As much as I want to keep us in here longer. So what I'm going to do is slowly make my way right through here. And we'll kind of retrace our steps, low spot right here. Let's make our way out of the cave. Are we okay with a little bit of darkness on the way out? Being kind to our inhabitants of the cave. I'm going to go ahead and pass through here. You go to the next door. Thank y'all so much for coming through. I'll be outside if y'all have any questions.
Is there a trail or anything to the natural entrance?
Yeah, when you step outside here, if you go, I would say the easiest path would be if you go to your right when you step out, you'll see a winding kind of switchbacky little sidewalk that goes up to the exit of the cave. The trail starts from right there for the natural entrance. Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, I'll be hanging outside the cave here. If y'all have any questions or like to chat about anything. We need to provide you cave bait.